Eric, what's your overall thoughts on the match?
I'm really pleased with the outcome, of course, the performance. I think if you'd asked beforehand what the group really, what the group really needed, not necessarily what the group really wanted, but it was a clean sheet. It was a return to the level of resilience and defensive discipline and desperation to keep the ball out of the net that we've showed for such long periods of this year, and that's made us such a difficult team to play against. I feel like over the course of the last couple of months, albeit results have still been good, and I feel like we've progressed significantly as a team, and I think now you see a really evolved version of what you saw at the beginning of the year from time to time. What we haven't been able to nail back down is that clean sheet and that what you've seen tonight, the compactness, the characteristics that have made Minnesota a team that no one likes to play against. So the fact that we were able to show that for large periods of the game and take our chance when it came, that was a really pleasing way for us to finish the night, and also it gives us a really solid base for what is to come. And obviously the context around the result and the position in the table, I think it was a really crucial win, and to have beaten that side over the course of 2 games, something the club has never done before, is impressive because they're a tough team to play against.
You talk about the defensive tightness. It's first shutout, I think, since May 28th. Were there any individual standouts of the group?
I think the group as a whole had, you sensed it all week, that there was a real regretfulness that had been felt by everyone after the Colorado game, because we certainly from just a general intensity, effort, discipline, willingness perspective had really let ourselves down. And I think as the week wore on, you really got a sense of a group that were desperate to prove a point today. And I think you'd obviously look at the big leaders in the group and the way in which they defended the box. Boxy in particular, Dane certainly played his part, but that's a real collective effort, and it needed top to bottom to be absolutely on point from a defensive perspective, because you'll have seen over 2 games they're one of the better teams in the league on the ball, very clean, very well organised. They've got players that can hurt you at every point over the course of the front 4 or 5 positions, so to have limited them to very little over the course of the game was pleasing.
Was Joaquin's goal a shot across? Do you know?
I think when you're delivering from that type of area, it's always somewhere between the two, I would say, and I think we've obviously carried a real threat on set plays throughout the season. I don't think there's a game that's gone by where we felt stale, but it certainly needed an element of variety, I think, to unlock that team tonight, and both Joe and Joaquin can deliver the ball really, really well from those areas. So I think those are some of the most dangerous crosses you see come into the box, and defenders know that full well. So I think it was a really well worked goal.
What did you see in some of the disconnect and difficulties in final third entries for you guys offensively?
Yeah, I wouldn't stand here and pretend to say it was the cleanest performance on the ball. We did struggle in the first half to create from organised play. I would say we carried big threat as normal on the second phase of set plays, and we created some situations that were certainly momentum that picked the crowd up, and energy, and repeated half chances, but nothing particularly clean cut. And that is for sure an area of our game where we need to continue to work. We need to continue to be cleaner around the top of the box. But I would certainly take a situation like tonight where we can take a chance, win a game 1-0, as opposed to many games I would say fairly recently where we score multiple goals and aren't able to keep the ball out the other end. So I will really focus on grabbing that positive and taking it forward, because that is for sure what we've been missing, and the fact that we've been able to find that with still 8 games to go, I think is a relief for everyone, I would say, because it's absolutely fundamental to us.
You talked about kind of a real regretfulness coming out of last week. A week ago you guys had a kind of a team meeting. Did you feel like that was a kind of catalyst for this week overall?
Yeah, and we have lots of those types of meetings. We do give the players a real voice, and I don't want them to feel like it's my team, it's their team, and they've got to drive the standards. And I felt like last week, I wouldn't describe it as boiling point in any way. We've got a very measured dressing room. I think everyone's got a real sense of perspective, but we're not a team that's used to losing back-to-back games. So albeit I can still stand here and say that we're probably one of the few, if only, team to have not lost back-to-back league games. The fact that we went from one in the Leagues Cup to one in the league, it felt like this is an exaggeration, but it felt like the walls were caving in a little bit in a way that it hasn't over the course of this season. And that prompted us to take a real look at ourselves, and the way in which we followed that up is exactly the way in which I would have expected us to. And I think it really speaks to how strong a group it is. It's a small group, but in some senses that helps in these situations. It's a group that's very galvanized, and it's shown its best in that sense today.
Coach, ¿cuál fue el aspecto táctico que los ayudó a neutralizar la ofensiva de Seattle Sounders, que sabemos que tiene una ofensiva bastante amplia, que llega mucho, que mete muchos goles? ¿Qué les ayudó a neutralizarlos para obtener el resultado?
Hay principios básicos como las distancias entre las líneas y el nivel de agresividad de los jugadores, la capacidad de apretar el espacio constantemente y concentrarse, porque sin esos básicos es imposible. Pero más allá de eso, fue para mí un partido muy interesante tácticamente, y siempre es el caso contra Seattle, y había problemas en el primer tiempo que se necesitó resolucionar desde nuestra perspectiva, y hemos hecho bastante bien, y eso nos ha dado la plataforma de ganar el partido, y como he dicho en inglés, estoy muy feliz con eso, porque es normalmente nuestra fortaleza, y regresar a esa situación y ser nosotros es muy importante, particularmente dado la situación en la tabla.
Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.